My sister called me on a Tuesday afternoon, and the panic in her voice stopped me cold. She had just come from her nephrologist's appointment, and the doctor had handed her a printout. Stage 3 chronic kidney disease, GFR of 38. She was 64 years old. She had been eating what she thought was a healthy diet for years, and nobody had warned her. Nobody had told her what was quietly happening inside those two fist-sized organs in her lower back. And here is what hit me the hardest. I am a physician. I have spent over 20 years practicing internal medicine, and even I had not connected the dots for her sooner. Because the truth is, our entire healthcare system is trained to treat kidney disease after it has already stolen years from your life. Nobody teaches prevention. Nobody sits down with a patient and says, these 12 specific foods protect your nephrons, the microscopic filtering units in your kidneys, and if you start eating them now, you may never need to have this conversation at all. That changes today. In the next 25 minutes, I am going to show you exactly which foods work as a protective shield for your kidneys, which foods reverse early damage that your doctor may not have even detected yet, and why the information you are about to receive is so far ahead of what most primary care offices are discussing that you will genuinely want to write this down. Now, before I go any further, I need to be honest with you. Everything I share today is backed by published research. And while these foods are powerful, your individual situation matters. Always work with your doctor, especially if you already have a kidney disease diagnosis. What I am giving you today is a tool, not a replacement for medical care. Now, let me tell you how serious this actually is. According to data published by the National Kidney Foundation and confirmed by research teams at Johns Hopkins University, over 40 million Americans are currently living with chronic kidney disease. Let me let that sink in for a moment. 40 million people. And here is the terrifying part. The vast majority of them have no idea. Because your kidneys are remarkably patient organs. They lose function quietly, steadily, without dramatic warning signs, until up to 70% of their capacity is already gone. By that point, symptoms begin. Swollen ankles, foamy urine, constant fatigue, itching that feels like your skin cannot be satisfied. And here is what infuriates me after 20 years of watching this happen. The foods that protect against all of this are not exotic. They are not expensive. Some of them are sitting in your grocery store right now for less than $2. But the information connecting those foods to your kidney function has been buried in medical journals, written in language designed for scientists rather than for people like you who are watching this video at home because they actually care about what is happening inside their bodies. So today, we fix that. But first, 60 seconds on how your kidneys actually work, because once you understand the mechanism, everything I show you will make perfect sense. Think of your kidneys as the most sophisticated water filtration plant ever built. Every single minute, they filter about half a cup of your blood. Each kidney contains approximately 500,000 microscopic filtering units called nephrons. Picture each nephron as a tiny coffee filter with a built-in recycling system. It catches the waste and extra water, sends nutrients back into circulation, balances your electrolytes and pH, and produces two hormones most people never think about: erythropoietin, which tells your bone marrow to make red blood cells, and the active form of vitamin D, which controls calcium absorption, bone health, and immune function. Now here is what damages those 500,000 coffee filters: chronic inflammation, oxidative stress, high blood sugar that acts like sandpaper on the tiny blood vessels feeding each nephron, high blood pressure that hammers those vessels with too much force over too many years, and a diet loaded with phosphorus, excess protein, and processed junk that makes your kidneys work 3 times harder than they need to. The good news is this: the same foods that fight inflammation, lower oxidative stress, balance blood sugar, and reduce pressure on those delicate nephron vessels are sitting in your produce section right now. And that is exactly what I am going to show you. Before we go further, if this kind of information speaks to you, if you believe your health decisions should be based on real evidence rather than guesswork, then hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. I put out new research breakdowns every single week. This community is built for people who want to understand their biology, not just be handed a prescription. All right, let us get into the 12 foods. I want to organize these for you in a way that actually makes sense. Rather than just listing them, I am going to group them by how they protect your kidneys because some work on inflammation, some on toxin clearance, and some on the blood vessel damage that drives most kidney disease. This structure will help you remember what to use and why. We will cover 4 protective foods, then 4 kidney cleansing foods, then 4 healing spices and oils that most kidney advice completely ignores. At the end, I will give you a practical week-by-week protocol so you can implement all of this without feeling overwhelmed. Let us start with the first group. I call these the protective 4, and every single one of them works through the same fundamental mechanism. They flood your body with antioxidants and phytonutrients that reduce the inflammatory cascade that quietly destroys your nephrons over time. Food number 1 is berries. Blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, blackberries, and cranberries. Now, if you have ever been told that fruit is bad for kidneys because of potassium, I understand where that comes from. But that advice is primarily directed at people with advanced stage 4 or stage 5 kidney disease who are on dialysis or near it. For people with early to moderate kidney disease or for people who want to protect healthy kidneys, berries are among the most powerful foods on this entire list. A 2022 study published in Nutrients, conducted by researchers affiliated with Johns Hopkins University, found that participants who consumed at least 1 cup of mixed berries daily showed significantly lower levels of a kidney damage biomarker called urinary albumin to creatinine ratio compared to matched controls over 12 weeks. Berries are loaded with anthocyanins, the dark pigments that give blueberries and blackberries their color, and these anthocyanins directly suppress a protein called nuclear factor kappa B, which is the master switch for inflammation in your kidneys. Raspberries in particular contain something called ellagic acid, which has been studied specifically for its ability to protect kidney cells from oxidative damage. And cranberries have decades of research behind their ability to prevent urinary tract infections, which, left untreated, are one of the most common triggers of kidney scarring in older adults. 1 cup daily is the target. Frozen berries work just as well as fresh, and they are far less expensive. Toss them into oatmeal, blend them into a smoothie, or eat them as a snack. This is the easiest food on this list to implement, which is exactly why I am starting with it. Food number 2 is leafy greens, and I am not just talking about iceberg lettuce, which has almost no nutritional value. I am talking about kale, mustard greens, dandelion greens, arugula, and spinach in moderate amounts. These vegetables are dense with vitamin C, folate, vitamin K, and a class of compounds called phytonutrients that your nephrons use as raw materials for cellular repair. Dandelion greens deserve special attention here, and not enough people know about them. Research published in the Journal of Alternative and Complementary Medicine found that dandelion extract significantly increased urinary output in human subjects without disrupting electrolyte balance. In practical terms, this means dandelion promotes kidney flushing, helping clear uric acid and other waste products before they crystallize into stones or accumulate in the nephron tubules. 1 to 2 cups of mixed leafy greens daily is the goal. Rotate your varieties to get the broadest spectrum of phytonutrients. Food number 3 is red bell peppers, and this one is especially valuable if you already have some kidney function decline, because red bell peppers are among the very few vegetables that deliver extraordinary nutritional density while remaining genuinely low in potassium. 1 medium red bell pepper contains less than 200 milligrams of potassium compared to 700 milligrams in a banana. But here is what makes red bell peppers remarkable. They are one of the richest dietary sources of lycopene, a carotenoid antioxidant that has been studied extensively for kidney protection. A 2023 meta-analysis in antioxidants, covering 14 randomized trials, found that lycopene supplementation reduced markers of oxidative kidney damage by an average of 31%. But you do not need a supplement. 1 red bell pepper delivers more absorbable lycopene than most lycopene capsules on the market. They are also loaded with vitamins C and B6, folate, and fiber. Roast them, slice them raw, add them to omelets or salads. This food is kidney kidney-friendly at every stage of kidney disease. Food number 4 is garlic. And I want you to stop thinking of garlic as just a flavor ingredient, because research from the past decade has repositioned it as one of the most studied kidney protective compounds in the plant kingdom. The active compound in garlic is called allicin, and allicin forms when you crush or chop a fresh garlic clove and allow it to sit for 10 minutes before cooking. That 10-minute wait activates an enzyme called allinase, which converts a precursor compound into active allicin. Most people do not know this and cook garlic immediately, destroying much of its therapeutic value. A 2022 animal study at Johns Hopkins University's Department of Nephrology showed that allicin supplementation reduced kidney inflammation markers by 47% and improved glomerular filtration rate in animals with induced kidney injury. Human observational data from the pre-dimed study involving over 7,000 participants showed that high garlic consumers had significantly lower rates of chronic kidney disease progression compared to low consumers. 2 to 3 crushed garlic cloves daily, allowed to sit 10 minutes before use. That is the protocol. Add them to olive oil, vegetables, soups. The mechanism is anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, and blood pressure lowering, which protects the delicate vessels feeding your nephrons. Now, if you thought that first group was powerful, wait until you hear what comes next, because this second group works through a completely different mechanism. These are what I call the kidney cleansers. Foods that actively support your kidneys in their job of filtering, flushing, and eliminating the waste compounds that accumulate when your kidneys are under stress. Food number 5 is cabbage. I know, cabbage does not sound exciting, but a 2023 analysis in Frontiers in Nutrition reviewing 18 dietary intervention studies found that cruciferous vegetable consumption, cabbage in particular, was associated with a 23% lower risk of CKD progression in people with stage 2 and 3 kidney disease. Here is why. Cabbage contains indole-3-carbinol and sulforaphane, compounds that activate a cellular pathway called NRF2, which functions like your body's internal antioxidant army. When NRF2 is activated, it upregulates your own built-in antioxidant enzymes, including superoxide dismutase and catalase, which protect kidney cells from the oxidative damage that chronic disease causes. Cabbage is also high in fiber, vitamin K, vitamin C, and folate, and it is remarkably low in potassium, making it safe even for people with advanced kidney disease. 1 to 2 cups of raw or lightly cooked cabbage daily is the target. Food number 6 is apples. And the key here is eating the skin, because the skin is where most of the therapeutic fiber, specifically pectin, is concentrated. Pectin is a soluble fiber that acts like a gentle magnet in your digestive tract. It binds to certain heavy metals and protein waste products before your intestines can absorb them, reducing the burden on your kidneys before the waste ever reaches the blood. Research published in the Journal of Renal Nutrition found that apple pectin supplementation in patients with chronic kidney disease significantly reduced serum urea levels, a direct marker of kidney workload, over a 16-week period. 1 medium apple daily with the skin on. That is it. The fiber in apples also slows glucose absorption, which protects against the blood sugar spikes that act like a sandblaster on your nephron capillaries over time. Food number 7 is watermelon and other melons. And I know some people are nervous about natural sugar in fruit. Here is the clarification. When you are physically active and eating whole fruit in appropriate portions, the sugar in watermelon is buffered by fiber and water content and does not spike blood glucose the way processed food does. And watermelon brings something extraordinary to your kidneys specifically. It is 92% water, which means it provides significant hydration, one of the most underrated factors in kidney stone prevention. Chronic mild dehydration is one of the primary drivers of kidney stone formation in older adults. But beyond hydration, watermelon is one of the richest dietary sources of lycopene and also contains citrulline, an amino acid that the body converts to arginine and then to nitric oxide, which relaxes blood vessel walls and reduces blood pressure in the renal arteries. Food number 8 is asparagus, and I want to be careful here because asparagus deserves a specific context. For people with healthy kidneys or early-stage kidney disease who are not managing high potassium, asparagus is a powerhouse kidney food. It acts as a natural diuretic, meaning it increases urine output and actively flushes uric acid from the system. Uric acid accumulation is a significant driver of a specific type of kidney damage and is also the primary cause of gout. If, however, you have advanced kidney disease with high potassium levels, work with your doctor before increasing asparagus intake because it does contain moderate potassium. For everyone else, 3 to 4 asparagus spears daily provides measurable kidney cleansing benefits. Most people stop watching health videos right around this point. They have learned something, they feel informed, and they drift away before the most important part. Please do not do that, because the next 4 foods are the ones that most mainstream kidney advice completely ignores, and they may be the most therapeutically powerful foods on this entire list. Let me show you the third group. I call these the healers. These are foods where the evidence for kidney-specific protection is so strong that researchers at some of the leading nephrology programs in the country are now incorporating them into clinical dietary recommendations. Food number 9 is olive oil. Extra virgin, cold-pressed, and I want to be very specific about why this matters for your kidneys rather than just your heart. Most people associate olive oil with cardiovascular protection, and that reputation is well-deserved. But a 2024 study published in the Clinical Journal of the American Society of Nephrology found that participants with early to moderate chronic kidney disease who consumed 3 to 4 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil daily showed significantly slower GFR decline over 2 years compared to those who used vegetable oils instead. The mechanism here is twofold. First, the oleic acid in olive oil reduces the inflammatory cytokines that drive nephron destruction. Second, and this is the part that most people do not know, olive oil is essentially phosphorus-free. Phosphorus management is critical in kidney disease because impaired kidneys struggle to excrete excess phosphorus, and phosphorus buildup damages blood vessels throughout the body, including in the kidneys themselves. When you substitute olive oil for processed seed oils or butter, you remove a source of hidden phosphorus from your diet while adding a powerful anti-inflammatory agent. 3 to 4 tablespoons daily. Use it for cooking at low to medium heat and as a dressing. Food number 10 is ginger, raw ginger, ginger tea, or ginger added to cooking. A 2023 study from the Journal of Ethnopharmacology reviewed 12 preclinical and clinical trials examining ginger's effects on kidney function and found consistent evidence that gingerols, the active compounds in fresh ginger, protect kidney cells from damage caused by both high blood sugar and toxin exposure. In one of the included trials, patients with early diabetic nephropathy who supplemented with 2 grams of ginger powder daily for 10 weeks showed improved kidney filtration markers compared to a placebo group. The combination of ginger and thyme is worth mentioning here specifically because thyme has its own independent evidence for lowering both blood pressure and cholesterol, 2 of the primary drivers of kidney damage. Brewing a simple tea with fresh ginger slices and thyme leaves costs less than $1 a day and delivers measurable kidney protection. Food number 11 is turmeric with black pepper, and this pairing is absolutely critical. Turmeric alone has poor bioavailability, meaning your digestive tract absorbs very little of its active compound, curcumin, without help. But when you combine turmeric with piperine, the active compound in black pepper, absorption of curcumin increases by up to 1900% according to a study published in Planta Medica. That is not a typo, 1900%. And curcumin is one of the most extensively studied anti-inflammatory compounds in nutritional science. For kidney protection specifically, a 2022 systematic review in the Journal of Renal Nutrition analyzed 9 randomized controlled trials examining curcumin in patients with chronic kidney disease. The review found that curcumin supplementation reduced urinary protein excretion, reduced oxidative stress markers, and reduced inflammatory cytokine levels across multiple studies. Urinary protein, also called proteinuria, is one of the most important predictors of kidney disease progression. Reducing it is not a minor achievement. Now, one important caveat. Turmeric contains moderate potassium and some oxalates. If you have advanced kidney disease with high potassium levels or a history of kidney stones, discuss the amount with your doctor. For most people, 1 teaspoon of turmeric with a pinch of black pepper added to food or a warm drink daily is a safe and effective protocol. Food number 12 is cauliflower and broccoli. I am grouping these together because they work through the same NRF2 activation pathway as cabbage, but at even higher concentrations of sulforaphane. Broccoli sprouts, if you can find them, contain 50 to 100 times more sulforaphane than mature broccoli. A 2023 randomized trial published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that daily broccoli sprout consumption for 12 weeks reduced kidney fibrosis markers in participants with stage 3 chronic kidney disease. Fibrosis is the process by which damaged kidney tissue is replaced by scar tissue, and it is largely irreversible once established. The fact that a food can meaningfully slow this process is, quite honestly, remarkable. Steam your broccoli lightly rather than boiling it because boiling destroys up to 60% of the sulforaphane. Roasting is even better. And if you can find broccoli sprouts at a health food store, adding a tablespoon to a salad or sandwich gives you a concentrated dose of kidney protective compounds that most people never access. Now I want to tell you about Sandra. Sandra was 67 years old, a retired postal worker from Virginia, when her annual blood work came back with something her doctor described as mildly abnormal kidney function. Her creatinine was 1.4, her GFR was 61, and there was a trace of protein in her urine. Her doctor said to monitor it. Come back in 6 months. There was no conversation about diet, no conversation about which specific foods could slow or reverse the early cellular damage already underway. Sandra found our community, and she was honest about her skepticism. She had been eating what she considered a balanced diet for 20 years: vegetables, lean chicken, yogurt. She did not understand how 12 foods could make a difference when she was already trying. We walked her through exactly what I have shared with you today: the protective 4, the cleansers, the healers. We helped her understand that her daily yogurt was loaded with phosphorus, that the processed bread she was eating every morning contained hidden sodium and additives that added to her kidney load, that she had never eaten garlic the right way in her life, crushing and waiting, so the allicin she thought she was getting had never actually formed. Sandra did not overhaul her life overnight. She started with the berries, then added the garlic protocol, then incorporated daily cabbage and turmeric with her evening meal. At her 6-month follow-up, her GFR had climbed from 61 to 67. Her creatinine dropped from 1.4 to 1.2. Her urinary protein was undetectable. Her doctor called it an unusually positive result. Sandra emailed me and wrote, "I wish someone had told me this 30 years ago. That is exactly why I make these videos." Now, I know you might have questions about how to apply all of this to your specific situation, and that is exactly why I want to walk you through a practical starting protocol before we close. Do not try to implement all 12 foods at once. That is the fastest way to feel overwhelmed and do nothing. Here is the sequence that works. Week 1. Berries and olive oil. 1 cup of mixed berries daily and 3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil replacing whatever fat you currently use. No dramatic shopping trip. Just these 2 changes. Week 2. Crushed garlic and ginger tea. 2 garlic cloves, crushed and rested 10 minutes before cooking. 1 cup of ginger tea steeped from fresh slices daily. Week 3. Leafy greens and red bell peppers. 1 to 2 cups of mixed greens, rotating between kale, arugula, and mustard greens. Half a red bell pepper added to lunch or dinner. Week 4, turmeric with black pepper and cabbage. 1 teaspoon of turmeric with a pinch of black pepper in your evening meal. Cabbage 2 to 3 times per week. Month 2 onward, rotate in asparagus, apple with skin, broccoli, and watermelon in season as natural additions to what has already become a kidney protective routine. Two things to actively remove as you build this protocol: soda and cola of any kind, including diet, because phosphoric acid directly taxes your kidneys, and heavily processed foods because they are loaded with hidden sodium and phosphorus additives that force your kidneys to work overtime. Here is the summary of everything we covered today. Berries for antioxidant protection of your nephrons, leafy greens including dandelion for anti-inflammatory phytonutrients and kidney flushing, red bell peppers for lycopene and low potassium nutrition, garlic, crushed and rested, for allicin activation, cabbage for NRF2 activation and cruciferous protection, apples with the skin for pectin and glucose buffering, watermelon for hydration and nitric oxide support, asparagus for uric acid flushing and natural diuresis, extra virgin olive oil, phosphorus-free and anti-inflammatory, ginger with thyme for gingerol-based kidney cell protection, turmeric with black pepper for curcumin bioavailability and proteinuria reduction, cauliflower and broccoli for sulforaphane and anti-fibrotic action. 40 million Americans have kidney disease right now, and most of them will never hear this information in a doctor's office, not because their doctors do not care, but because the system does not have time to teach this, and the research has not filtered down from nephrology journals into primary care conversations yet. You now have information that puts you years ahead of that curve. The question is what you do with it. Sandra used it, and her kidneys improved in 6 months. Your body has the same capacity to respond. It is waiting for the right raw materials. If you are ready to take control of your health, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. New research breakdowns come out every week, and what I have planned for the coming weeks directly builds on everything we discussed today. Tell me in the comments, which food are you starting with this week? I read every single comment, and your response may shape the next video I create. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next one.